Hello, welcome back. In this tutorial, we are going to see Lambda expression. Lambda expression is one of the most useful features of Java 8. We are going to see step by step how it works and what is the structure of Lambda expression. So to understand the structure, we are going to create a simple example that was the syntax from previous versions of Java, and then we will derive the syntax of Lambda expression. So I'm creating one more package and I'm making one class. It is the first version of my example, so I'm giving 1. Now in my main method I'm going to create a list of type integer. List name I'm giving L is equals to arrays dot list as list, and elements I'm passing so my list is ready, you can see. Now I want to print the elements of the list. So in previous version what I was doing is integer for loop and inside that for loop let's write print statement. And let's run this. So you all know about this particular syntax. Now it is there was nothing new in this example. Now what I am going to do is I am going to create one more class, that is the second version of previous example. So I am going to give name loop demo 2. And the code I am going to take from the previous example itself. Now instead of for loop there is one method introduced in Java 8, that is for each method. It performs the given action for each element of the iterable until all the elements have been processed or the action throws an exception. It takes object of consumer interface as argument, and consumer interface has a method called accept. So whatever logic you want to write in the accept method, that will be performed for all the values of list object on which for each method is called. So let's do it practically. As I mentioned, for each method takes object of consumer interface. So let's create object of consumer. So you can see consumer, that is inside java.util.function, and you can see it is since 1.8. If you go over here you can see it is introduced in Java 1.8. So let's create consumer of type integer consumer object. Name I'm giving C is equals to new consumer. Now according to syntax of anonymous class you have to add the unimplemented methods. So my object is created and my method is overridden. So here is the syntax of your anonymous class. The declaration and overridden and object creation, all the things done at the same time. Now here I am going to write system.out.println and I am passing the integer t. Whatever integer I am getting on my accept method, that I want to simply print. Now I have to call for each method on my list object L. So L dot for each object of consumer C, and let's run it. Again it is going to give me same output. So the output from previous example and this example is exactly same. The for each method, let's come over here. The for each method is introduced since 1.8, you can see over here, and it takes object of consumer. So I have created object of consumer, I have overridden that method. Whatever I want to do on all the elements of my list, that I have to specify in this except method. So this was the for each method. Now if you can see over here, the code up to here, like you are passing integer t, and whatever is integer t that you are going to print. So up to the code over here, that is not that much useful, that can be skipped. Now let's create one more class. And I'm going to take the logic from here, because I want to modify this particular logic. I'm not doing modification in the same file, because I'm going to provide you all the files in PDF format. So you can see over here, after this and up to here, this code is not that much useful. Whatever the logic you are doing, that you have written over here, integer t and system.out.println t. So what if I say you that if it is not useful, you can remove it, right? Okay, Java 8 allows you to do this. So let's change this part. Now whatever I want to do on integer t is system.out.println. I am not going to do anything else, right? So according to syntax, what you have to write is your variable over here, and what you want to perform, that will come over here, and between both of them there is a syntax, this. So this syntax is Lambda expression. Now let's save it and run it. So again you can see it is giving me the same output as of my previous one. So how it works, the value that on which you want to work and whatever the logic you want to apply, that you can write directly with Lambda expression. You don't have to do the unnecessary coding. Now you can see that I have created object of consumer C, and then I have directly passed the Lambda expression. Now interesting point about Lambda expression is that you can even remove this declaration. You can directly write t, and for each t system.out.println t. Now this is also allowed in Java 8. For the Lambda expression you can skip the variable declaration. Okay, now let's do one more thing. Let's cut it from here, let's remove it, and let's paste over here. Okay, just remove this, right? And let's again run it. So again it is going to give me same output. So this code for method is now written in one statement only. So this is called a Lambda expression. Let's just briefly revise over here. What we have created over is, we have created a list, and we have created we have printed it using order for loop. Then we created consumer object, we overridden the method except method, and then we called for each method. As I mentioned earlier, for each is introduced in Java 8. We are overriding the except method over here because we want to make changes in logic. We want to print it, we don't want to keep it blank, so we have to override the except method. So we have created object and we have overridden the method. Both we have done at the same time. So here is again anonymous class fundamental. Now then we removed the unnecessary code. We removed this code and then we directly return this with this variable integer t, and then we directly passed that as argument to my for each. So here is the example of lambda expression. So in this example, lambda expression, we have used inbuilt interface collection to derive. In the same way, you can use your own user defined interface. In next sessions, we are going to see other examples of lambda expression. With the practice, you will easily get grip on it. It is going to reduce your code. It is going to make your code more concise. It is going to make your code more readable. So do more and more practice. Thank you.